Schönen guten
So,
Abend Ihnen und euch
wonderful good
allen. Ich
evening
bin
to all of
Thomas
you.
Müller-Wöhr und darf Sie
My
im
name is
Namen
Miller
von
Burr, and in the
Renovabis,
name of
dem
Renovabis, I should like to
Kooperationspartner der
cordially
Katholischen
welcome
Akademie
you.
in
This is the
Berlin
cooperation
und
of
dem
the
Zentralkomitee
Catholic
der Deutschen
Academy
Katholiken
in
ganz
Berlin
herzlich
and
begrüßen
the Central
zu einer
Committee
neuen
of
Folge von Listen
the
to
German
the East.
Catholics. So this is a
Unsere
new
heutige Veranstaltung
episode
findet
of
statt
Listen
im
to
Vorfeld
East,
unserer
and we
diesjährigen
do this
Pfingstaktion,
before
deren
our
Motto
this year's
lauten wird:
Pentecostal
Leben viele
campaign.
mehr auf dem
And the
Plakat,
motto of this
voll
campaign will
der
be
Würde,
full of
Menschen
dignity,
stärken im Osten
so
Europas.
strengthening people in the
Dabei
east
werden
of
wir den
Europe.
Blick vor allem
And
auf
the focus
drei
will be mainly on
vulnerable
three
Gruppen und
vulnerable
Gegenden in
groups and
Osteuropas richten
ethnical
und
groups in Eastern Europe.
Gruppen, die besonders
So
bedroht
groups
sind
that
von
are
Gewalt
especially
und
threatened
Ausgrenzung.
by
Das sind zum
violence
einen die
and
Menschen, die
exclusion.
Opfer sind
So
des
for the one thing,
Hasserfolges Russlands
people
gegen die
that are victims
Ukraine.
of the war of
Das
aggression
sind die
of
Opfer
Russia against
von
Ukraine.
Frauenhandel
It's
und
the victims of
Zwangsprostitution.
women's trafficking and
Und
forced
drittens, und darum geht es mir heute Abend
prostitution.
besonders,
And
es geht um die
thirdly, and this is
Situation der
what this evening
größten
is about,
Minderheit in
it's the
Osteuropa, die
situation of the
Situation der
largest
Roma.
minority in the East, and that's the
Für diese
situation of the
Themen haben wir
Roma.
besonders auch Eingang
And
gefunden auf unser
this
Aktionsplakat. Sie
was
sehen
also
hinter
taken
mir
up in our
Elena aus
poster here. You
Bulgarien,
see
eine
Elena from
stolze,
Bulgaria
selbstbewusste
here,
Frau,
a
eine
very
Romin
proud,
aus
self-confident
Bulgarien,
woman
die
from
uns mit einem sehr
Bulgaria.
sympathischen Blick
And
anschaut.
so she looks at us with a very pleasant
Rund 10 Millionen
smile.
Roma leben im
About
Osten
10 million
Europas
Roma
und
live
in
in the east
Ländern
of
wie
Europe,
Bulgarien,
especially in countries
Rumänien,
like
der
Bulgaria,
Slowakei,
Romania,
Serbien und
Slovakia,
Serbien.
Serbia, and Hungary.
Große
Large
Roma-Gemeinschaften
Roma
leben
communities
besonders in großer Armut. Sie
living in
sind
great
ausgegrenzt
poverty.
und
They are
behindert,
excluded
haben
from
oft keinen Zugang zu
education. Very
öffentlicher
often, they have no access
Gesundheitsversorgung.
to the public
Nur
health
wenige von
service.
ihnen gehen
Only very
dauerhaft an festen
few have a
Arbeitsplatz nach.
permanent job,
Der Grad der
and
Schulabbrecher und
the
Abbrecherinnen in
number of
ihnen
people that leave
ist
school
besonders.
prematurely is relatively high there,
Über 30
particularly
Jahre nach
high.
dem
For
Zusammenbruch des
more than
Sozialismus
30
ist
years
die
after
Situation
breakdown of
heute
socialism, the
schwieriger
situation
als
today
vor
is even worse than
1989,
before
90.
1989 in
Und auch
many
der
cases.
EU-Beitritt mancher
And also the
Länder wie
accession of some
Ungarn, über das wir
countries to the
heute noch gehören
European
werden,
Union,
hat die
Hungary, for
Situation
example,
unbedingt
that we will hear today,
verbessert.
has not really improved the
Laut
situation.
einer Studie der Agentur der
So,
Europäischen
as regards
Union
the study
für
of the
Grundrechte
European Union on basic
bezogen,
rights,
sind
we
Roma
can
die am
say that
stärksten
the Roma
diskriminierteste
are the
Gruppe in
group in Europe
Europa.
that is
Über
most strongly
50% haben
discriminated against.
Erfahrungen mit
More than 50%
antiziganistischer
have
Ausgrenzung
experiences with
und Ressentiments
exclusions
und
against
Vorurteilen.
Roma, and also suffer
Auf der
from
anderen
people
Seite
with
gilt das
prejudice
Engagement
and so on.
vieler kirchlicher und
And on
nichtkirchlicher
the other side,
Organisationen,
the
Kirchen und
commitment of
Gruppen,
many church
besonders
and
in ihrer
non-church
Unterstützung ganz konkret zur
communities
Förderung
really
von
supports
Bildung,
this
gesellschaftlicher
these
Anteilnahme und
societies,
Integration.
especially as regards integration and access
Zum
to
Thema
education and so on.
Marginalisierung der Roma
As
wurde
regards
viel auch
marginalization,
wissenschaftlich geschrieben.
a lot
Heute
of has
Abend
been
möchten wir
written
zwei
upon, and
Beiträge hören
tonight we would like to hear
aus
two
Ungarn und
contributions
aus
from
Serbien
Hungary and from
von
Serbia
zwei Menschen,
by
die
two
ganz
people
konkret
who,
in der pastoralen und in der
uh,
sozialen Arbeit mit
as regards
Roma
pastoral
und
care and
Romnia
social work
engagiert sind.
with Roma
Dazu
and
begrüßen
Romnia,
wir
they
Janet
work with them.
Banlaki
So I
aus
would like to first
Budapest
of all
und
welcome Janet
Stefan
Banlaki
Nikolic
from
aus
Budapest,
Subotica
and then
in
also
Serbien.
Stefan
Herzlich
Nikolic from
willkommen, schönen guten Abend,
Sobodica from
schön, dass Sie
Serbia.
dabei
So
seid.
thank you very much that you have joined us here
Wir wollen
tonight.
es so halten
So
wie
we would
immer
like to
bei
do it
Listen to
as
the East,
always
dass wir
with
uns
Listen
zunächst die
to the
beiden
East, that
Beiträge
first of all, we
anhören,
will
dann
listen to the two
mit
contributions
einem
by our
Blick
speakers,
beginnen und in allen
and
Teilen
then
ins Gespräch kommen
we can
und
start
die
a
Fragen
conversation, a
dazu
discussion
besprechen,
with
die heute
everybody
Abend
in this
aufkommen.
meeting
Vielleicht
here,
auch
and
die
try to answer the
Antwort
questions that will
finden
come
auf
up.
die
Maybe we can find
Situation
some
der
answers
Roma in
regarding the
Osteuropa.
situation of Roma in
Zunächst
Eastern
hören wir einen
Europe.
Beitrag
First of all, we will
einer
hear a
Person von Janet
contribution
Banlaki.
by
Sie
Janet
kommt
Banlaki.
ursprünglich aus der
Originally, she
Kleinstadt
comes from a small
Hatvan, das ist
city,
im Norden
Hatvan, that's in the
Ungarns.
north of
Sie ist
Hungary.
katholische
She has
Theologin.
studied Catholic
Sie ist seit
theology,
einigen Jahren
and
Generalsekretärin der
for 1 year,
Kommission
she has been this as a
Caritas und
Secretary General
Humanitate der Ungarischen
of the Commission
Bischofskonferenz,
Caritas in
also
Veritate
zuständig ist
of
für
the Hungarian
soziale
Bishop
Fragen dort.
Conference. She's in charge
Sie
of
ist vor allem
social
Koordinatorin der
questions, and
Soja
above all, she is
Miklos-Vereinigung.
coordination of
Das
the
ist
Soya
eine
Miklos
sehr offene Häuser, in
community.
denen
So it's the
soziale
concept of
Arbeit
open
mit und
houses
für Roma
where social
funktioniert.
work
Darüber
can be
werden
done
wir
for
einiges mehr hören
and with
heute. Und sie ist auch
Roma
Mitglied
people.
des
And she's also a member of the executive
Exekutionsvollzieher
committee
Pax auf
of
Europaebene.
UPACs on the level
Bevor
of
ich ihr
Europe.
das Wort gebe,
Before I
noch
hand over the
ein
word to
wichtiger
her,
Hinweis. In seinem
another point
Beitrag,
that is
den
important.
wird sie öfter
In
sprechen
You will
von
very often talk about,
Gypsy.
you
Im
will use the
Englischen, die
word
deutsche
gypsy,
Übersetzung ist in English, and
Zigeuner.
in German we'd have to say Zigeuner, and the interpreter will interpret like this: Zigeuner. We know that the word in German is a swear word, it's a word of abuse, which is normally not used any longer in German, but we will use it to make the differentiation between Gypsy and Roma, as you also do in your presentation. Then we know that in many countries, for example in Hungary, Gypsy, that's even how they refer to them themselves, right? So they don't have a problem with this terminology then. And before you start with your presentation, I have a motto here, which I found and which I found very good here. It says, I'm here for you, and also tomorrow I will be there for you. And what that means, we will listen now to Janet Banlaki. So thank you very much for presenting this now, your work with the Roma. So Janet Banlaki, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and thank you very much for inviting me to give this presentation. I will take a look at the situation in Hungary, the good initiatives of the church and the government, some of the achievements and the difficulties we are facing. Let me start with a personal experience. This picture was taken at an event a few years ago. These 4 kids invited me for a Coke. I saw that they had brought the bottle with them, so I asked them how they had got the money. They replied that they collected iron and sold it to a man. They got the money from him to buy the Coke. I think these boys are very clever, lively, capable of making their way in life. I also think they are very good boys, generous, innocent. And I also think that they are in danger. If they know at 9 or 10 years old that they have to collect iron and sell it to a man to make money, then there is a reason to worry that a few years later they might get into some other black business or something much worse. These areas have very high levels of trafficking, drug market, and other criminal activities. Gypsy pastoral care started in Hungary more than 100 years ago. Since then, a huge network and huge work has been developed with the support of both the government, the churches, and NGOs, reaching out for hundreds of thousands of people. However, this photo is from 2023, which shows the enormous complexity of the situation. Now a little statistics. The chart shows the growth of the Hungarian Roma population up to 2021. In 2025, the estimated Roma population is between 800 and 900,000 people. The first map shows the spatial distribution of the Roma population. The darker the blue color, the higher the Roma population in that area. The very tiny darkest blue dots have a Roma population of 50% or more. Here I show the percentage of the total unemployment population. The darkest colors are 18-20% unemployment rate. The dark green and blue areas show small villages and regions that have been left behind. We can see the overlaps between the areas, the southwestern part of the country and the eastern, northeastern part. Where there are lagging areas, there is growing unemployment, poverty, and also high Roma population. The number of severely deprived villages and segregations where our organizations operate is very high. Our institutions there work with families, children with multiple disadvantages. The homes have no running water and guttering, heating solution not balanced. There is lack of adequate food, clothing, health care, and there's not enough space in the houses, overcrowded with family members. In 1989, 90% of the Roma population of working age were in employment. And in 1993, only 30% had a job. And the number of jobs have been falling ever since. 66% or more of the adult Roma population suffer from some kind of illness. A unique and grandiose government development program was launched in 2019. It covers almost 300 lagging areas, small villages, where some kind of activity takes place in the various organizations. And these organizations receive public funding. These places on the map include all the municipalities where programs run by churches, the Red Cross, Maltese, Caritas, non-profit organizations, and so on are present. They are trying to provide solutions to various problems like drug prevention, debt management, education, health, and so much more, and they reach hundreds of thousands of people. These places are the ones linked to the Catholic Church. And in this picture, these are the organizations belonging to the Miklós Sólyom Open House Association, which can benefit from this public money, 7 members only. And here are all the members of the association, currently 42 organizations. I will come back to this later, but you can already see from these statistics that finances is a difficulty we face. I now outline the work of the Catholic Church in the past and present in the field of pastoral care for the Roma. Already in the 1920s, Premontrei sisters began to work among the gypsies, going out to the outskirts. Miklós Sólyom, a Greek Catholic priest, began to teach the nomad gypsies living in tents to read and write. Study, study, study was his motto. And even today, many people who started out from his upbringing tell stories about Father Sólyom and about his strict and devoted love. Since then, Hodász, where he worked, has become a thriving village with its own gypsy church, old people's home, educational institutions. The Commission for the Promotion of Justice and Peace of the Hungarian Catholic Bishops' Conference is Caritas in Veritate Commission. It has 3 subcommittees: Commission for Social Justice, Commission for Pastoral Care of Migrants and Itinerant People, Commission for the Pastoral Care for Gypsies. The Church strategical plan and some of its achievements so far are sensitization of the priests and seminarians. Today, the Roma issue is much more in front and more important to us than it used to be. Roma pastoral studies has already been included in the seminaries, and some dioceses send their seminarians on field practice to Roma parishes. A major achievement is that the afternoon schools for Roma kids have been able to win state funding. These are not the open houses, though. All these many goals can only be achieved with the spirit of the heart. We are all one in Christ, who died for all of us. Every diocese has a Roma pastoral responsible. The photo here shows from left to right the ideal cooperation in team. A lay co-worker of a Sólyom member organization, the Bishops' Conference and Sólyom coordinator, the Roma pastoral responsible of the diocese, and their diocesan bishop. The elderly Father László Somos has been living and working among gypsies in the Diocese of Kaposvár for 50 years. And after all this long time, his work has become spectacular. They started tending gardens, sending children to school, and trying hard to get a job to make an honest wage. The Blessed Ceferino Institute is the National Institute for Roma Pastoration founded by the Bishops' Conference in 2014. His father, PhD Péter Lakatos, Greek Catholic priest, a gypsy man. He is the National Roma Pastorate Commissioner of the Catholic Church assigned by the Bishops' Conference. The Institute provides spiritual training for Roma pastoral workers who will help in the teaching of faith and preparation for the sacraments. They try to build bridges in 2 directions between the Roma and non-Roma groups. The role of pastoral movements is also very important. More than 600 Roma have completed the Cursillo program. A great achievement for the Institute is the annual conference on pastoral care for gypsies and national pilgrimage. Education is very important. Giving the Roma kids the opportunity to go to high schools and vocational schools with scholarships help children to stay in school, managing their everyday life with classmates. And our pride and joy are the graduates from the Roma specialized colleges for university students. You can see here on the slide the big role of the religious orders, Salesians, Jesuits, Benedictine order. It is very important to strengthen dual identity. A person can live a strong, happy life if they can take pride in their identity. As a Roma writer and artist puts it beautifully, the double gold bracelet are Gypsy identity and our Hungarian culture. The Open House is an outreach partnership in small villages and segregations with a large number of marginalized people, typically people with multiple disadvantages, vulnerable with long-term illnesses, living in deep poverty, mostly Roma. The Open House is a community space where the constant presence of support staff allows for personal contact. This will increase trust and thus allows for the identification of the real needs of the beneficiaries, which the Open House modules will provide adequate response to. The selection and the order of implementation of each module will be based on local needs and financial possibilities. The motto of an open house could be, I am all here for you, and I will be here tomorrow as well. We have 42 open houses, 42 members of the Shoya Association all over Hungary. The modules are the following. Presence, running an open community space with a permanent presence of support staff to provide personal and cultural interaction, social, administrative, and mental health support. Free daily meals, people's kitchen, advocacy, legal and social advice. Providing playhouses, early development programs, preschool and development activities for young children, infant and toddler care advice for mothers, academic assistance, integration programs, leisure programs, celebrations for primary and secondary school children and young people, programs to help students complete 8th grade elementary school, motivating them to continue their studies, providing training opportunities, help employment, public employment, promotion, self-sufficiency, small-scale farming, crafts for sale in community markets. Here I would like to mention that the state provides public employment jobs for the Catholic Church in 70 municipalities. The Blessed Ceferino Institute distributes them, and most of the Shoya members receive a contribution to the salaries of their employees. This is a very big help, but each year they receive fewer places from the state. As an association, umbrella organization, the goals of Shoya Association to present the values and social utility of the organizations represented by the association to the public, to publicize and recognize the effectiveness of existing and new open houses with public, church, and other support organizations. These community houses are very difficult to maintain. We are losing our teachers in the period between tenders because we cannot pay their salary. So our goal is to help members to be seen and recognize their importance. What is advocacy work? Each year we participate on Catholic social days, exposition and roundtables. We are invited to ecumenical strategical meetings. We lobby with the Blessed Ceferino Institute at government ministries. We sometimes have the possibility to organize conferences and events for the directors and co-workers of the members to have formation and recreation. We have to consider the danger of burnout as well. We regularly hold meetings, assemblies, trainings, strategy planning, and sharing good ideas. We see that our members strive to look for ways to be more effective and more seen. On this photo, you can see the presidency of the association. Here are people who have been working in the pastoral care of gypsies for many decades and do an immense job. Parish priest József Lanko, Maristan brother Pedro Catala, Sister Rita, Franciscan, and Sister Agnes Juhász, head of the Premontrei order. Two ultimate and very important goals to reach: to achieve that the government recognizes and supports financially the open houses as well. And we desperately need to find the person who could be full-time dedicated for advocacy work and for communication. Allow me to conclude again with a personal experience. Each year, my sons and I attend one of the Shoya members' summer camps where the children play sports and learn English. My younger son is sitting in the middle with the orange cap. These kids don't care about their differences. They fight. Yes, my son is also as mischievous as all the other ones. Then they make friends, and then they play football. They are just kids. They are all the same. And it's also true that they are not the same because of their circumstances, because of their upbringing, because of the normalized abuse. Here, child protection has a huge role to play so that the children know what abuse is and can be helped. Because of normalized crime, they are not saying that my father went to prison or got jailed, but they say my father went in and came out. And they say it not because of shame, but because it's so natural for them that a man goes to prison from time to time. Our option for the poor is not optional. This is the law of humanity. The task is very big, but together we can do much more. And finally, allow me to show you a video clip. One of the Shoya members managed to make a video with a grant. This short part is a beautiful gift for all of us, the dance of Roland and Natalia. And thank you for your kind attention.
Ja, Jeanette, vielen Dank für die sehr beeindruckenden Einblicke in die.
Janet, thank you very much for this very impressive demonstration of your work for the Roma in Hungary, these open houses, but also the Catholic Church that is quite well prepared to help. I think we were able to hear a lot about the successes of local developments. And before we come to the second presentation, to Hungary's neighboring country, Serbia, I would like to invite you to really write in the chat as well. There's one or the other comment already that I've seen, and I would really like to invite you, just put your questions, your remarks in the chat, and then we will take it up. And we come now to the second thing, and now we come to Stefan Nikolic, and it's good that we do not just talk about Roma, but with him we have a Rom among us as a discussion partner. He comes from Subotica in the north of Serbia, close to the Hungarian border, and So he studied economy. He's a member of many networks, organizations that fight for the cause of the Roma internationally, but also on a local level. And above all, and this is what he's going to talk about tonight. He's the president of the NGO, which is called Edukativny Center Roma. So it's a education center of the Rome in Subotica. So, and his special focus here is to integrate Roma in their local environment accordingly. And I also picked out one sentence from his presentation, which really, well, triggered something with me. And he was going to talk about this in a moment. If we get to know each other better, so non-Roms and Romas and Romans, then we will notice that we all belong to the same species. So, Stefan, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very
We
much.
listen to you.
I wish you all good. Thank you very much for possibility to be with you and to show my presentation, my thinking, my view of the Roma position in the society. Listen to this. How to live together? That is a big question now. If you are looking at the situation in the society, I belong to the Roma population, and I analyze the human beings, and I saw that we have in three cases that we are equal. When we are born, died, and we belong to the same group. Between born and dead, starting differences. Who made that? People. This ring I called the ring of power. In some moment, you see majority doesn't acknowledge the existence of other. I can speak about Roma and another minority groups, and it keeps them isolated. They are here, but you cannot enter inside. You cannot enjoy. Another possibility, the majority doesn't accept others and vulnerable groups as equal. They put near the ring of power, but you cannot go inside to enjoy in your rights. The third moment is assimilation as a model to protection the interest of the majority. They accept you inside of the ring of power, create the ambient, and you assimilate, but you also don't enjoy in your rights. What is the best for us? Intercultural society. It's acceptable for all varieties, and at the time it's become strongly beyond with all which accept the differences. If we analyze its Roma population, that is general presentation about society. The Roma, through history, we have very bad past. Consequence, we enter in the vicious circle of poverty. We are unemployed, we are poor, we are illiterate, and we go in the circle. In the last 20 years, I think, now we have been given the opportunity to participate in the building our better future. With various program, European Union, local governments, various programs. What is intercultural society? The basis for building intercultural society is the implementation of inclusive model in the education system. Result, we learned how to live with differences. We live together. In Serbia, the Serbian government accept inclusive education as an official model in the education system. And accepting differences is based on three dimensions of inclusion. It is creating inclusive policies, developing inclusive practice in the schools, in the surrounding. Result of these activities in the society, we have inclusive culture. Product of inclusive education, an individual with sense of self-value and self-respect, an individual who is ready to actively participate in spreading intercultural spirit, an individual who is aware of existence of differences, and in the individual who sees differences as wealth and not as an obstacle. Numbers in Serbia. You can see the numbers of the population of majority, and during the last census, during 2021, in Serbia, we have about 131,936 declared Roma, but we told think that it's between 400 and 600,000. In my town, in Subotica, we have about 33,042 people who declare that is Roma. But I'm thinking, as I belong to the NGO, we have about 4,000 because we had very good data about Roma. What we have, the document, we have the adapted national strategy for social inclusion Roma 2022-2030, which is aligned with European documents. We have a local action plan in inclusion Roma in local towns, various regions, local instrument for Roma, that is the government local instrument, pedagogical assistant in the schools and the kindergarten, health mediator in the health center, and coordinators for Roma issues in local government. What is deficit? Poverty is high in the Roma community. Some investigations show that Roma population is 6 times more poor than the poorest non-Roma. We are not equally in the poorest, or specifically if we are rich, we are not rich. We need to solve that. We need great financial resources. People, the local instrument, people who included in the system as local instrument for the Roma inclusion, they haven't defined permanent employment relationships. They have a contract for 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, but in the next year, perhaps the school is not interesting for pedagogical system. It is go out. The number is insufficient. At the local government, all local governments in my country haven't a local action plan for improving the position of the Roma. Roma community in the Subotica is very specific. We have domestic Roma. If you are looking from the place where you're coming, it's domestic Roma, IDPs from the Kosovo, people who came from European Union, people who is from ex-Yugoslavia, Macedonia, who is present here more than 20, 30 years. He is on the market, but when Yugoslavia go out, Macedonia starts to be a new country. He is foreigner here. If you are looking at the religion, we have Orthodox, Catholic, Muslim. In that, when you are coming, the people from the Kosovo, the Muslim group is the biggest. If you are looking from employment, we have the biggest group is unemployment, collecting recycled material, musicians, and dealers in the trading. Also, we have variety on the language, dialect, Gurbet, Arlija, Kaldrash. All of these varieties put together the name Roma. This is the scheme how we are working. We put, if we analyze this integrated family, not Roma, integrated family. We health family has 2 ways communication in the family between mother, father, children. This family has 2-way communication with the neighborhood, the local community, 2 ways communication with the relevant institution to realize their needs. And the local government create the ambient to work the system. The Roma family, if it's haven't this side, the circle of power, you need to get something from outside support. In this case, that is our organization. We are mediator between Roma family and all these institutions. In the same time, we support the Roma family to be stronger. In one moment, to be a part of the society, to be independent, and to be with like another people. We are working with the parents. This is group from Kosovo. And they, during 1999, in Subotica came more than 2,500 people from Kosovo. They are Islam, people belong to the Islam. A lot of them. We find on the field that 145 people haven't the document, personal document. And we have very good communication with primary schools, but they cannot enter into school because haven't document. And we go to the settlement. This is how we create council for the parents to speak about them, to discuss about their future. This is specific moment, this picture. We are working 5 years with this Roma community from Kosovo. And I asked them, what do you think? To go to Kosovo, you will stay here? No, we are stay here. You are here, your organization support us. Okay, I told, okay, you can go tomorrow in the local community and you represent, because I create the council of the parents, told, hello, we are your inhabitants, we would like to cooperate with you to be active in your community. Tomorrow, we get new information, the non-Roma wrote the petition against Roma. After that, we go to the meeting. This is historical picture. We go to the meeting. The non-Roma represent them, and I was in this moment because I was a member of National Council of Roma from Serbia. I was in that position. We discuss about the position, discuss about the problem of non-Roma, and they told me that they have the problem with roads, electricity, road, and water, and canalization. I told to the local government that I see the conflict on ethnic level, and I make connecting with whole groups, Roma and non-Roma, that they common needs is road. They support us, and we create the road. That is the building of the peace. My condition was, when we are creating the roads, is that they must participate, non-Roma and Roma, to support that. But it's not what so big work because it's machine. But after that, we make some little party. I told them they are tired. And after that, the first time the neighborhood, Roma and non-Roma, start to speak together, that they go to road. Also, we include non-Roma pupils in some community creating the drawing. Our mission is inclusion Roma in local community on the territory of the Serbia. We are looking term exclusion as seen as endless list of complex activity which aim to create basis for equal inclusion of all marginalized groups, such as Roma. Through advocacy and mediation, ESRA is working toward implementation of existing policies, development of new policies to improve position of the Roma in the region. Area of work, community development, that is the basic. Education, early childhood, youth work, employment, health, public advocacy, and monitoring of activities. This is some pictures from our activities in the our organization, in the schools. Picture from early childhood, work with youth. And we are very proud on this magazine. We are speaking that Subotica is intercultural city, but everybody is working separately. We make the initiative to create one magazine, Mosaic. We invite we make the concept, we invite all national minority to write about them, on their languages, and to translate on Serbian languages. We keep the 9 national communities. That is the picture of mosaic. They here wrote Ruthenian, Roma, Montenegro, German national minority, Slovenian, Slovakian, Hungarian, Bunjevac, Croatian. Results. We participate in creating of criterion for pedagogical assistant and help mediator. That is the local instrument in government, local instrument in education and health center. We helped acquire 30,500 personal documents. We helped 95 adults to get fact of their birth registration, all of them from Kosovo. Over than 750 Roma children were enrolled in the elementary schools. In 2024, 608 Roma pupils are enrolled in the preschool, 784 are in the primary school, and 46 students in the high school. I told you when you told you about misunderstanding between Roma and non-Roma, we told us good practices, and 9 eminent people use our exam as good practice, and that is combined diversity and freedom in 21 centuries. The president of that group, 9 eminent person, was Mr. Joschko Fischer, and Asta from Germany, and this is the another members. The site we strive is flexible, changeable, and adjustable to needs of individual families. For implementation of such programs, there are several preconditions. Team, we have a team. Mutual trust, they trust to us, Roma, also between us in our team. Motivation for education, enthusiasm, active listening of needs of target group, enough time, knowledge for the community, love for humanity, patience, and financial support money we have enough. Education for all will turn a light of hope in the Roma community. This picture, I take the picture in one house. It was the only light in that house. That is a small part, and that is oil, and they pay fire. On the bed was woman with 2 small children. But also that is a life of hope. Thank you very much. I'm open for all questions.
Ja, vielen herzlichen Dank, Stefan, für die
Thank you very much, Stefan, for this very interesting and very differentiated insight in the work of your organizations. So the center in Subotica. So I understood. So you have an almost endless list of aspects that you have to really overcome, so that people living next to each other really live together then. And I understood about the difficulties in Serbia and so on. I would like to share or take up a question from the chat, and it refers to the situation in Hungary. And so therefore it goes to you, Jeanette. So before later on, my colleague Christina Hägerle will talk about the situation about her work in the 2 countries. So I have a very long question. So I will pick out 2 aspects. It's about politics. It's about the Orban government, and so the Roma in Hungary. How can they benefit from the highly praised family policy of the Hungarian government? Because this is addressed at another stratum of society that the Roma do not belong to. And the other thing is the segregation in education work is even more pronounced than before. It is not reduced, the segregation at schools and so on. So what can you tell us about? How do you assess these 2 questions?
Yeah, thank you very much. It was even more than 2. I didn't try to be idealistic, okay? I was focusing on the work of the church because this is my field. I try not to be defensive, though. I don't want to, and we cannot turn a blind eye to all the negative trends and all the difficulties what we also face in Hungary. You mentioned the school segregations. Because of as the result of free school choice, it's an inevitable phenomenon that it exists. And it is not because of Roma children, but also because of children with multiple disadvantages who make it really difficult to manage a class. And that is why I would say it is so important what the work is being done in the Tanoda's afternoon schools and open houses where they try their best to differentiate in teaching and tutoring. Honestly, I don't know the solution how this many times natural process is happening with segregation. What could be like a centrally made solution or something like that. About the family allowance, the family assistance, it does have side effects. On the one hand, many middle-class families have benefited from it, and it was and it is a real help. But I have to agree that family support does not reach the lower social, the lower, you understand, the poor families in the same way. So there has to be like a different social strategy, no? And I have tried to outline some of the initiatives, what the state, the government is doing. About community or public work you mentioned, I also mentioned it in my work because actually we see that it's very big help for many who just doesn't have any other income. And as I mentioned in our open houses, many employees can work because of this public employment you mentioned. But I also see that some might be, that it's enough for me and they don't develop, This is the other side. I don't know what else I should say. It's a very big, I don't want to lower the problem, no? And as I mentioned, I don't want to make an ideal picture. Ja.
Ja, vielen Dank für die ehrliche Antwort. Inzwischen habe ich eine Frage, die möchte ich
Thank
gerne
you
noch.
for your honest answer. So I have another question I would like to pass on. So this goes to you, Stefan. It's not about Serbia as such, but the question goes to you, Stefan. It's about the finding that it's still very difficult for Roma to have permanent access to the job market. So it's not just about local deficits, for example. So which possibilities are there and which preconditions do they have to give them more stable job opportunities? So you say the number of people with permanent jobs among the Rome population is very low. So how can we change the direction of this development that more people find jobs?
Inclusion of Roma is the process, long process. If you are looking that we are outside of a system through many generations, if you do someone who is poor, it's the second generation enter in the circle of poverty. Without support, enter the third generation. To give back them, also we need the time. What we are doing, we are strategic plan. I'm speaking in Serbia, also in my town. We are we are connecting with all schools, with National Office for the Employment. We have a network. Now we are trying to prepare people to go to work. What is not good in my country? It's not good law for the social support and law for the work. If you get the social help and you start to work and you get more money than its social support, the government, that is official, government calculate how many money you get more than your social support. They stop to enter you to back in the system for the social support because you get more money. And after that, I told that for the government, this is very good. The law is good to keep the poverty, not to. And what the people doing? They are working on the black market, get the social support, and they are outside the system. They are not active on the they are not active on the market. And we are talking. We have enough worker. Change the work, change the law, and after that, also to be poor, to generation, start to be your culture of life outside of system. To change that, also you need the time to support. I show you that on scheme. Somebody must to be moderator in the local government, in the local community. You must to make the team who will be support, not to help support this family to be active in the society. That is inclusion. We don't finish active family in the society. We didn't finish. We didn't make inclusion, sustainable inclusion. We see next 20, 30 years, we need to work more and more. Also, we have a specific situation. We in Serbia came people from European Union. Also, we have the people from Kosovo. We haven't, after 20 years, we don't solve all problems. We are very proud. They are in primary schools. There are secondaries, high schools. Now it starts to work. And we are behind them.
Vielen Dank. Ich würde mal hier einen Stichpunkt
Thank you very
setzen.
much. I would like to take up, Stefan, you said you have structural problems and the development of these structures will take a lot of time. And I think this applies to Serbia and to Hungary. And here I would like to ask Christina Hägele to speak to us. So she's in charge at Renovabis for projects with Roma populations and has a lot of experience in the two countries that are on the focus today. So I would like to ask the technician now to allow Christiana to speak now. So from your point of view, from Renovabis' point of view, project support, where do you see deficits, for example, but also successes in the local situations in both countries that you are in charge of? Well, good evening. Thank you very much to Jeanette, to Stefan. And I know them as very valuable project partners. So I think for sure we have to say, so I was in charge of Hungary for 8 years for Renovabis. And for us, the promotion of projects for and with Roma right from the start was important. So starting from the 1990s already, so this is where we supported a lot. So Renovables more and more tried to no longer just promote individual projects, but also support the networking between different projects, because we were also convinced that due to this connection also in Miklošoja now, that all these initiatives, also as regards to lobbying, for example, when they have a much stronger voice now because it's more partners involved now. And to see that step by step from our perspective now, so as a funder, as a cooperation partner, to really see how this came up over the past, well, let's say 15 years, that we have more and more this networking now, and how we can see the effects. So from our point of view, this is very positive. We are very pleased by this, and we also see in the churches a change of understanding as regards this topic, and a change of attitude. But still, it's a challenge that social education area, also legal advice, so to have adequate financing for that. And therefore, Renovables continues to get requests and applications, and we continue to support our partners, especially as regards lobbying, for example. And I would like to add again, so Renovables for all the projects in all partners countries. So Renovables never supports or funds projects that focus one group, for example, like here the group of the Roma. So we do not focus on just one group. So so all projects that we fund are always open to all people in need. And so this is all how our project partners work. So nobody will be turned away due to their ethnic ascription or ethnic belonging. So this is very important for me to add. Christiana, thank you very much for adding this, to giving us another perspective from Renovables' point of view as a funder. So I have one question that I would like to take up into our conversation with Jeanette and Stefan, and then we're almost at the end of our roughly 60 minutes. Excuse me. So the question is, how high is the share of staff members from the group of the Roma themselves? So how many voluntary people, how many social workers do you have from the group of the Roma? Because that it would be important for the acceptance, for the development of these groups. So I would be interested in knowing this. And maybe you could just give a short answer to that for Hungary and then also for Serbia.
Yeah, just quickly say, I don't know, obviously, like exact numbers all over the country, but in these open houses and tanodas, a lot of Roma people work, ladies and men as well, which is really good with the kids, no? I mentioned also the graduates of university, no? I understand that sometimes there is a very deep-rooted psychological gate of going back, no, to the roots. That's why we try to promote, try to help this, what I mentioned, this quote, the golden bracelet of identity and also the culture. So that's what I can say, that, for example, in the summer camps and also what I mentioned in the Tanodas open houses, what I see, there is Roma co-workers and employees. But I would be very interested in Serbia, Stephen, also.
what we are doing in Serbia, we have strategy to see young people to enter in the education. We haven't equal, we have enough, we have the number of who is social work in the whole Serbia, Roma. In our organization, we have previous period when we start 15, 20 persons, we passed a lot of seminars, which is concentrate for the community development for the Roma. In our organization, we have various situations. We have Roma, non-Roma, but it's very important they accept our mission. And the many institutions accept us as representative in a very serious organization. We have also our people, the people from our organization, enters in the school. They are pedagogical assistants. They are very, very good person in the schools, because some schools, they have in the previous period, before 1999, that schools have between 10 and 15, 20 Roma pupils. Now, they have between 150 and 250 Roma pupils with various cultural, with various, they don't know enough Roma language, Serbian language. They are living in the Roma community. Also, we have one specific village, Chantavir. They are Roma living in substandard villages. They are speaking Roma and Hungarian. They attend the primary school on Hungarian language. And now I will concentrate with them. We include in this project them. I thought that inclusion is a long process. It's very important to told you. It's very important political moment that you can work with Roma to develop the Roma program. In my country, also in Hungary, I know some cases. During the 2011-13, some political party told that Roma population destroyed the freedom of pupils, and they need to accept to include civil guard the same as in the Hungarian model. And we are working some activities in that communities. That was three towns, 3 cities. And we use the model as the same when we are put the road of the peace road, when we prepare the road, build the road of peace. And that is very important as how we are working to listen each others, to listen the situation, to support Roma people to be visible and to enter in this institution. Our role is to be mediator, to support the system, institution, also to put the wind of the Roma population to go enter in to be active in the society. And we are now because in the Serbia we now lose a lot of donor, and Renovables is our hope of light, as my picture told, the last picture in the presentation.
Vielen Dank für beide Ausführungen nochmal zu
Thank you very much for your answers. So Renovables as a light of hope, that's really strong. So we please, if you get this impression like this, so Renovables is represented by many people in different areas. So I was just really curious to see how our talks will have developed, and everybody who is listening today know that the group of Roma that have a different position in many countries, because there is politically intended exclusion and a segregation that is wanted, that we have a problem there. But with you, Jeanette and Stefan, we had very good conversation partners now who really are very knowledgeable about this topic, about the many variety of different topics here, whether it's about promoting employment situation, education. So this really impressed us very much. And I would like to share a personal remark with you. Last September, in preparation of our Pentecostal campaign that we're going to start in May, I was in Moldova and Romania, and I remember, or in Bulgaria, we were also in Sofia, and we were going around in small groups in a large Roma community, and I was really devastated to see under which conditions these people had to live there. And so I asked myself, how can you actually get out of this situation at all? And today you showed us little steps, aspects, local successes. That's how we could be successful despite the continuing structural, political, financial obstacles and difficulties. For us, it's important that one focus of our Pentecostal campaign will be on this. And so Elena from Bulgaria is representative for that. So we have also guests from Slovenia, Roma, that will talk about this. So we do not just talk about people, but we talk with people and let them talk about their situation. So we're looking forward to what we will see in Berlin from the 21st to 25th of May. And so for today, I should like to thank you very much, Jeanette in Budapest and Stefan in Subotica, for your commitment, for joining us here tonight. I think you were able to share really what you stand for. You are representatives of the success of local developments. So thank you to all of you for your interest. And again, I should like to thank everybody. So the Central Committee of German Catholics and the Catholic Academy in Berlin, who are co-hosting this. And please join us again the next Listening to the East, which will be announced at a given time. So thank you very much. Thank you for your interest, for joining in, and have a nice evening now. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.